Dealerships and car manufacturers have been lying to you for years repeatedly, and that's exactly why most cars won't reach 100,000 miles. Today, I'm revealing 21 truthful tricks that can help your car surpass above 300,000 miles. We're exposing the myths and the secrets mechanics hate I'm sharing. Stay until the very end, because the final trick takes 30 seconds, but can prevent a $4,500 repair bill. Let's get into it. Trick number 21, change transmission fluid. Here's the secret dealerships won't share. Waiting until your transmission slips to change the fluid is like waiting for a heart attack before eating healthy. By then, the damage is done. They call it lifetime fluid, but whose life are we talking about? Not yours, and definitely not your transmission's. That's marketing spin to make maintenance sound optional. What's really happening? That fluid's cooking under pressure, breaking apart, and collecting metal particles with every single shift. The sneaky part? It still looks decent. Red color, no burnt smell. But underneath, it's packed with clutch debris and metal dust. It's not lubricating anymore. It's destroying gears from within. Once you feel that first slip, you're too late. Now you're staring down a 4,000+ transmission replacement. The solution? Drain and refill every 60,000 miles. Driving a hybrid? Push it to 90,000 max, but don't gamble beyond that. Never flush a neglected transmission. You'll knock loose the sludge that's barely holding things together. Just drain and refill. And here's the critical part. Always stick with OEM fluid. Toyota WS for Toyota vehicles. Honda ATF DW1 for Hondas. That works with everything fluid at the parts store. It's a transmission killer waiting to happen. Might seem fine at first, but give it time and you'll get slipping, overheating, and total failure. And if you think that's concerning, just wait till you hear what skipping the most basic service does to your engine. Trick number 20, the 5K oil rule. Still following that 10,000-mile oil change your manual suggests? You're slowly killing what's under your hood. That yearly or 10,000-mile recommendation, that's not about engine longevity. That's about making ownership look cheap on the sales brochure. Manufacturers need their cars to appear low maintenance to move units, not to keep your engine running at 300,000 miles. Talk to any mechanic who's been in the trenches for decades, and they'll all say the same thing. Real engines need fresh oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, especially if you're doing short commutes, crawling through traffic, or dealing with extreme heat or dust. That extended oil change interval isn't saving you money. It's creating sludge and metal-to-metal friction inside your engine. You won't notice today, but 5 years down the road, that's when timing chains stretch, VVT systems fail, and cam phasers start rattling themselves apart. Always check with your manual or a trusted shop for the right oil type. Modern engines need synthetic. Older vehicles run fine on conventional. Every oil change means a new filter too. Zero exceptions. Don't grab those cheap $2 filters either. Stick with OEM quality. And if you thought oil was the only fluid they're misleading you about, you're in for a shock when we talk coolant. Trick number 19, coolant clock reset. Coolant isn't a set it and forget it situation. It's not something you change whenever you remember either. Skip it, and your engine's next heat wave could be its final one. Here's what actually happens as time passes. Coolant becomes acidic. Not just contaminated, actively corrosive. It attacks your water pump, destroys seals, blocks up the heater core. Worst of all, it creeps up silently. First you'll catch a sweet smell, then white smoke appears even after filling the reservoir, and it keeps dropping. That's not some weird mystery. That's a head gasket starting its slow death. A single flush could have prevented all of it. I've watched engines get destroyed over a $70 maintenance item that kept getting postponed. Flush your coolant every 3 to 5 years and only use what your manufacturer specifies. No mixing colors, no universal solutions. Red stays red, blue stays blue. Mix them up and your cooling system becomes a chemical disaster. Want to know a trick that drops your engine temperature by 10 degrees on scorching days? Keep watching, I'll reveal it shortly. But first, we need to address the component that can detonate your engine without any warning. Trick number 18, timing belt deadline. Let me be direct. Your owner's manual is covering the manufacturer's warranty period, not protecting your bank account. It might recommend 100,000 miles or 10 years, but ask anyone who actually wrenches on engines. That's cutting it dangerously close. By 60,000 to 80,000 miles, Most timing belts are already showing heat cracks, oil contamination, and tension damage, especially on older power plants or engines with poor cooling. Here's what most drivers never realize. Timing belts age even sitting in your garage. I've pulled 7-year-old belts with only 40,000 miles that snapped during normal driving. Zero noise. Zero warning signs. When one breaks, pistons and valves collide at high velocity and your engine is done. Want to dodge that $4,000 nightmare? Get your belt inspected at 60,000 miles. If you see dryness, cracks, or a glazed surface, replace it immediately. And when you do, swap the tensioner, idler pulleys, and water pump simultaneously. These components wear as a system, and skipping them means paying for the same labor twice when something else fails. The next component wears down just as aggressively, and neglecting it could erase all the protection you just added. Trick number 17. Use high-quality spark plugs. Worn spark plugs don't just misfire, they murder your entire engine. It begins with weak ignition. Next comes incomplete combustion, cylinder misfires, and unburned fuel destroying your catalytic converter. I've witnessed $60 worth of ignored spark plugs create $3,000 in cascading damage. Most plugs rated for 100,000 miles don't survive past 60,000 in real-world conditions, especially in turbocharged applications or direct injection engines where carbon accumulation runs wild. Want longevity? Use premium plugs. NGK Iridium Ni or Laser Iridium, perfect for Japanese manufacturers. Denso Iridium TT, ideal for hybrids and imports. Bosch Double Iridium, excellent for European brands. Motorcraft or AC Delco OEM, the only safe choice for Ford and GM vehicles. Skip copper plugs unless your engine specifically requires them. Inspect your plugs for oil or coolant contamination. If you see wet or crusty tips, you don't have a spark plug issue. You've got a leak somewhere. Fresh plugs every 60,000 to 70,000 miles can prevent thousands in repairs. And if you're looking to bring back lost power or smooth out rough running without tearing into your engine, habit number 16, replace the fuel filter. Your fuel filter exists for one purpose: block contaminants from reaching your engine. When it gets clogged, it becomes the problem. I've removed filters so packed with debris they resembled mud. That contamination doesn't just restrict fuel delivery, it kills fuel pumps, blocks injectors, and destroys your fuel economy. The terrifying part? You might not detect anything wrong until your vehicle starts hesitating, misfiring, or dying under acceleration. By that point, the damage is spreading throughout your fuel system. Most vehicles need a fresh filter every 30,000 to 60,000 miles. But if you're driving through dusty environments, towing regularly, or using questionable fuel, change it sooner. Always choose OEM or quality name brands. Bosch, Motorcraft, or AC Delco. Those cheap knockoff filters can deteriorate from ethanol exposure and release particles into your fuel system. And never believe a mechanic who claims, "We cleaned it out. Good to go." That's corner cutting. And speaking of maintenance schedules, most people completely forget their brake system has a fluid that's deteriorating faster than they realize. Habit number 15, flush brake fluid. How does brake fluid determine whether your car reaches 300,000 or 500,000 miles? Easy. If your brakes don't work, you're not driving anywhere. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, meaning it pulls moisture from the air slowly and silently year after year. After 7 to 10 years, it can absorb enough water to lower its boiling point by more than 100 degrees F. Fresh DOT3 fluid boils at approximately 401 degrees F, while DOT4 reaches 446 degrees F. But once water contamination sets in, that temperature can plummet to 280 degrees F or even lower. That's low enough to boil during aggressive braking situations. When brake fluid boils, vapor bubbles form. Your pedal goes soft, and your stopping power vanishes. Here's your fix. Purchase a $20 brake fluid moisture tester. Insert it. Press the button. If it shows over 3% water content, flush your entire system. No guessing. No hoping it'll last another year. Flush every 2 to 3 years without exception. Coming up next, your differential. It might not be leaking yet, but it's grinding itself into oblivion. Habit number 14, Gearbox Guardian routine. The transfer case and differential rank among the most overlooked and most punished components on your vehicle. Your differential allows wheels to rotate at different speeds through corners. The transfer case distributes power between front and rear axles on all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive systems. Both rely on thick gear oil to maintain cooling and protection under extreme pressure. As time passes, that oil deteriorates. It collects metal particles, transforms into sludge, and begins destroying bearings and gears. I've heard differentials whine and groan for months before they seize completely. Once that happens, you're looking at complete failure and a massive repair bill. Here's how to prevent it. Reference your owner's manual for specifications and service intervals. Warm up your vehicle with a short drive first. It makes the oil flow easier. Remove the fill plug before the drain plug. Let everything drain completely. Clean off the magnetic drain plug tip. Refill with the exact specification gear oil. No alternatives or close enough products. Change it every 30,000 to 50,000 miles if you tow off-road or use your AWD system frequently. Next up, there's one small valve that controls internal pressure and airflow, and it silently destroys engines when forgotten. Habit number 13, replace the PCV valve. Your PCV valve manages crankcase pressure inside your engine. When it stops working, pressure accumulates, seals start failing, and oil consumption skyrockets. I've seen engines burning through a quart of oil every 1,000 miles because of this tiny $15 component. It won't illuminate any warning lights. You'll just keep adding oil and wondering what's wrong. Let it go long enough, and it will blow a gasket, leaving you with a $100-200 oil leak repair. Most PCV valves survive around 30,000 to 50,000 miles, but inspect it earlier if you're seeing smoke, rapid oil loss, or unstable idle. Replacement is incredibly straightforward. Twist it free from near the valve cover, install a new one, and check the connecting hose while you're there. Cost? Approximately $10 to $20. And while we're discussing airflow, there's a tiny sensor that determines how your engine breathes. Habit number 12, clean the MAF sensor. If your engine feels lazy, idles inconsistently, or consumes more fuel than normal, your mass airflow sensor might just need cleaning, not replacement. It's positioned near the air filter housing and reports incoming air volume to your engine computer. When contamination or oil coats the sensor wires, readings become inaccurate and your engine botches the fuel-air mixture. Look for these warning signs: hesitation during acceleration, declining fuel economy, unstable idle, difficult starting, or diagnostic codes like P0101 or P0104. Before spending money on a replacement, attempt cleaning first. Extract the sensor. Disconnect the electrical plug and apply CRC MAF Sensor Cleaner. Use nothing else. Never make contact with the delicate wires. Allow complete air drying, then reinstall. Want verification it worked? Use an OBD2 scanner to compare airflow readings in grams per second before and after cleaning. Service it every 12,000 to 15,000 miles or more frequently if you're running oiled air filters. If that just prevented a costly shop visit, do me a solid. Smash that like button. We'll very much appreciate it and help us grow. Anyways, this next one could improve your mileage. Habit number 11, align your tires. Most service manuals don't address alignment until significant damage has occurred. They'll recommend waiting 12,000 miles or longer. Terrible advice. By that point, you've already shredded the edges of your tires. I tell every customer, when you rotate tires, verify alignment too. Every 6,000 miles, every oil service, especially if you're driving rough pavement or hitting potholes regularly. Watch for warning signs: uneven tire deterioration, steering wheel sitting crooked, vehicle drifting left or right. Don't brush them off. A single bad alignment angle accelerates tire wear by 30%. Fuel efficiency decreases, suspension components take extra punishment, and no, this isn't a driveway fix. You need professional equipment, alignment racks, laser measurement systems, and trained technicians. It's not cheap, but it's significantly cheaper than buying 4 new tires and replacing a control arm at 80,000 miles. And we're just getting warmed up because cold revving inflicts more destruction than most people understand, and most owner manuals completely ignore it. Habit number 10, avoid cold revving. Cold revving ranks among the fastest methods to destroy your engine. And no, it doesn't speed up the warm-up process. That's complete fiction. When your engine's cold, oil is viscous and pooled at the bottom. Revving before oil circulates to the top creates metal-on-metal friction at high RPM. That's how pistons wear prematurely. Bearings get damaged. Turbochargers blow their seals. The correct approach? Start your engine. Let it idle for 30 seconds maximum. That's sufficient time for oil pressure to establish. Then drive conservatively. Maintain RPMs below 3000 until your temperature gauge begins rising. Next up, idling. Most drivers assume it's harmless. They're wrong. Let's set the record straight. Habit number 9. Avoid excessive idling. Letting your engine run while stationary might seem innocent, but it's gradually wearing down critical components. When your engine idles, oil pressure decreases. Not enough to trigger warning lights, but enough to starve top-end components like lifters, camshafts, and valve seals. Eventually, those quiet ticks evolve into expensive knocks. That's $1,500 or more in repairs just from excessive warm-up idling. And while you're sitting with the air conditioning maxed out or checking your phone, your engine's running rich, meaning unburned fuel coats cylinder walls, dilutes your oil, and creates carbon deposits throughout your intake system. On direct injection engines, that buildup doesn't burn off. It transforms into a $700 to $1 in $200 carbon cleaning service later. And if you're idling right now while watching this video, turn it off. You're not helping anything. Habit number 8. Wash the undercarriage often. Just because rust is invisible doesn't mean it's not actively destroying your vehicle's underbody. That salty winter slush coating everything? That's not dirt. That's a corrosive agent. And mud. That's moisture-saturated grit adhering to metal surfaces, trapping water in every crevice. Brake lines, fuel lines, control arms, frame rails. I've witnessed all of them corroded beyond repair in less than 5 years. One customer's rear subframe literally snapped in half. The cause? Salt accumulation and zero undercarriage maintenance. His paint looked perfect, while his frame was rotting from beneath. And while we're addressing corrosion, let's check under the hood. Because if you haven't inspected your battery terminals recently, chances are they're already accumulating corrosive buildup. Habit number 7. Clean battery terminals. Manufacturers barely mention battery maintenance, but ask any experienced technician and they'll confirm corrosion doesn't follow service schedules. It develops rapidly and damages gradually. I've diagnosed vehicles with perfectly functioning batteries that wouldn't start because of corroded terminals. That green-white crystalline growth blocks electrical current, overworks the alternator, and interferes with sensors throughout your vehicle. Inspect your battery every few months, particularly during hot weather, or if you primarily make short trips. Look for corrosion, oxidation, or black residue around the clamps. But even if your vehicle starts reliably, it might be communicating warnings through sounds most people deliberately ignore. Habit number 6. Watch for unusual sounds. We're all guilty of this. Hearing a strange squeak, click, or clunk, and immediately turning up the radio. But that noise, that's your vehicle desperately trying to communicate a problem. Squealing during braking could indicate warm pads or warped rotors. $300 to $600 if you delay the repair. Clicking sounds while turning likely signal a failing CV joint. $400 to $900 once it completely fails. Knocking from the engine compartment. Don't guess. That could indicate timing issues, lifter problems, or something significantly worse. And those repairs aren't budget-friendly. Want your vehicle to reach 500,000 miles? Start by actually listening to what it's saying. But listening isn't enough if you're not documenting everything you're doing. Habit number 5. Track maintenance in a logbook or app. Think you'll recall when you last changed oil, replaced brake pads, or flushed coolant. You won't. Nobody does. That's why smart owners maintain detailed maintenance logs, either handwritten in a glove compartment notebook or digitally using free applications like Carfax Car Care, Drivo, or Simply Auto. The method doesn't matter. Documentation does. Because when memory fails, maintenance gets missed. Belts exceed their lifespan. Fluids get overlooked. Minor issues escalate into $100-200 repairs that proper record keeping would have prevented. Want to reach 500,000 miles? Document every service, every component, every date. You'll identify patterns early and address problems before they become financially devastating. Habit number 4. Stop overfilling your tank. That extra squeeze after the pump automatically shuts off. You're not maximizing your purchase. You're flooding your evap system with liquid gasoline. I've replaced charcoal canisters destroyed by drivers who consistently topped off their tanks. Those components aren't cheap. $350 to $900 repairs caused by a single unnecessary squeeze. Your fuel tank requires airspace to properly vent vapors through the evaporative emission system. Overfill it, and you're forcing liquid fuel into vapor lines, destroying sensors, clogging valves, and saturating the charcoal canister. Speaking of habits that cost you money, let's discuss a driving technique that destroys brake components faster than anything else. Habit number 3, coast early, save brakes. Aggressively braking isn't performance driving, it's expensive driving. Every panic stop subjects your rotors to 10200-degree F heat cycles. The result? Warped rotors, glazed pads, and boiling brake fluid. That's the price of treating every traffic light like a drag race finish line. Want brake longevity? Release the accelerator early. Coast towards stops. Utilize engine braking on descents. This simple behavioral adjustment can double your rotor and pad lifespan, saving hundreds per axle. Now let's address something that could leave you stranded roadside. Habit number 2, follow the quarter tank rule. Running near empty isn't just risky, it's destroying your fuel delivery system. Your fuel pump depends on gasoline for cooling and lubrication. When your tank approaches empty, the pump ingests hot air instead of fuel. Over time, this overheats the pump motor, deteriorates the seals, and causes internal failure. But there's more. Low fuel levels agitate sediment settled at the tank bottom. That contamination gets drawn into your filter and injectors, causing rough idle, poor acceleration, and eventual engine damage. And finally, the habit that prevented more catastrophic failures than anything else on this list. Habit number 1, use your parking brake every single time. Think park gear is sufficient. That's adorable. Your park position is a small metal pawl inside your transmission, attempting to hold thousands of pounds by itself. That's not a parking brake. That's a gear retention mechanism, and you're abusing it mercilessly. I've replaced parking pawls that shattered because owners parked on inclines without engaging the parking brake. Once it fractures, prepare for a $2,800 transmission disassembly just so your vehicle doesn't roll away. Did you know your car has some high-tech features you don't know about? Then click on this video next. You'll discover features nobody told you about that exist inside your car. It could save you money, and your wallet will thank you.